lot has changed in this past year. Take a walk through our hospice houses and you'll see empty community spaces, games and toys that haven't been picked up for months, close to a year, plexiglass barriers, and all sorts of other safety precautions. At our main office, the rows of cubicles are empty. Conference rooms are now booked, not for meetings, but for the countless boxes of PPE. Many calendars no longer track time, but rather they offer a reminder of when things changed.
We were all a little nervous. We were all learning. It was a process how to be safe. Also us, plus patients.
When all of this began and the lockdown started, I would say that there were a couple of challenges for me, and probably the first one was to deal with the fear of what this whole virus was, what it was going to do to me personally, what it meant for my patients, what it meant for all of the people that I work with, as well as my family.
The biggest hurdle is the families were so isolated, and so there's a lot of emotional support, and they were scared. They didn't want to contract the virus. Everybody was unsure of what that entailed.
Everybody had to learn how to adjust and what was safe for both myself and for them.
And of course, as things became clear that this was an airborne, at least partly an airborne virus, what did that mean for us as singers? Were we dangerous? Were we potentially dangerous?
You know, we're there to provide an extra layer of service. And when we weren't able to physically go in to provide that, that was very, very difficult.
And everyone was like, what do we do now?
So the past year has had many challenges, the first of which was moving all our workforce to working remotely. So we had to all move from doing a very active, busy job in the office to working remotely out of our homes. So IT here was very helpful in getting us the ability to do that.
They're trying to restructure the way they do their job, so they have a lot more questions, just trying to get everything to work right. We're at a point now where everybody's working pretty smoothly at home, but the first couple months were, we were slammed.
I think the most important thing for us as an organization was to be able to take care of our employees. From day one, we knew it was important to make sure that we were communicating with our staff on an ongoing basis, that we made sure that they had the appropriate PPE they needed to see their patients, but also that they had the support and the financial support from the organization to be able to live their lives and take care of their loved ones at home as well.
Initially, the biggest challenge was getting everybody to be able to work from home and getting all of the personal protective equipment, and really didn't realize how difficult that could be. Not something that we're really used to acquiring so much equipment in a rapid sense.
We scouted out the conference rooms, we turned them into places where you could see boxes after boxes after boxes for one of the rooms, spills over to a second room. We also set up a shipping room, which is where we have all the shipping supplies to ship out to our employees.
And I'm sure there are people behind the scenes that it felt like utter chaos too. But to us in the field, I really feel like there was an effort made to go out of their way to make us feel supported, because if we felt supported, then the patients and the families would feel safe and supported, and that would be seamless as much as it could be.
When your loved one is at very end of life, it's hard to understand what's going on with them when you're not there all the time and you're not watching it. And so we were trying to come up with compassionate and creative ways to have families on, virtual video and to help them understand what was happening with their patient who we were here with.
A big part of it as a social worker that you're looking for, and that big part is not only to ask people questions, but also to read their nonverbal answers. So the company actually helped us get a way to do video conferencing with patients.
We needed to find a way for social workers, chaplains, and people who weren't going in to do face-to-face visits for a while to be able to talk to patients.
I think our hardest challenge was to figure out how do we connect with people in a virtual world. And I think that we really did a great job, and I think that we tried different ways of using different tools and instruments and of course digital formats. And our donors and supporters really picked up on it and connected with us and used the tools, and we were very fortunate that we had a great deal of success even in the virtual world.
We've amazingly in the past year we've been able to have just as many groups as we always offer, and we've had just as many people participating and people participating that never would have been able to in person because they would just live too far away from where we can offer groups.
Our orientation was in person once a month. We were meeting with up to 10 to 12 people who were joining the organization, and we quickly had to turn that around to a virtual orientation.
And it's great that Care Dimensions is fully supportive of that. It means a lot to me because I feel safer. I feel, as a mom of 5, the fear and the concern is always, am I going to bring it home? Am I going to bring it home to my children? Am I going to bring it home to my husband? Am I going to carry it to my parents, who are now both fully vaccinated? So it's just great that I can be with them.
What's remarkable to me, not just with my staff, but with all the staff, is how resilient they were and how they just turned on a dime.
Another thing that really stood out for me was the bravery of the nurses that I work with, because while chaplains and social workers were locked out of many of the facilities that we go to, our nurses were not.
That team has been very important, and just some incredible nurses that I'm very lucky to even call friends now, So I'm been very, very lucky in this pandemic to have worked for the team I worked for.
The management has been great. I feel very supported. I also go out and do visits overnight as well, and I've just felt supported like I'm never alone.
I have to take my hats off to Care Dimensions because they made it so that we would find a way to make sure our patients were supported.
We could not have done this year without our volunteers. They have been incredible keeping things floating in the front desk. They've balanced it in a way that have made people feel still special coming in. Many of them remember, the family members' names and make them feel welcome.
And we've had some just beautiful reactions to them, from the volunteers and their experience in doing that and their gratefulness to be able to do something right now because they've been so limited, but from the families also have just really appreciated and been touched.
When you have somebody that you love and they're dying, you want to put your hands on and I love you, I want to hold your hand, I want to rub your feet, I want to kiss your forehead, I want to say these things to you and not have another person in the room because they're holding a computer. I want it to be personal and private, and that I think I'm most looking forward to the families being able to do that again. because that for me has been the most heartbreaking, is the disconnect between the families and the residents.
When you deal with nursing home and dementia, Alzheimer's, generally just cognitive decline. Some of my patients are over 90, almost 100, and they're just, not being able to touch them to get attention and not startle them. You startle them, here you are dressed up like a Martian. That's why the large badge has been absolutely one of my best tools, was to be able to hold that up and say, this is me. Was very difficult, but the fact I couldn't touch them either has been difficult, and I think that will be one of the things that I will appreciate, is to be able to put lotions on their hands, and when you laugh, touch is important, and I think that that's kind of been tough to have to keep a distance.
But just to get back to being more social creatures, I think would be huge.
I think we're looking forward to doing less and less virtually and more in person, because that's who we are.
As much as we Zoom, maybe run into each other's facilities, I've missed my colleagues, and I'm really looking forward to being able to spend more time with them, not virtually, but maybe in person.
Well, I think forward is looking that we all have a little freedom, but still being safe, and say that we all need to take care of each other.
So to be able to slowly have people come back to the office and be able to see them, or have, a meeting not over Zoom would be something I'm looking forward to.
I think for me personally, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing that in-person collaboration, those smiles that every single one of us miss.
Most people got into the work of hospice because they're a social group. They're helpers, they're caregivers. So people have done their jobs quite well from home, but I think most people are looking forward to coming together.
We want to make sure that the community continues to feel reassured that we are going to be there for them. You can trust us to help take care of your loved ones. You can be sure that we're going to show up, we're going to answer the phone, and we're going to do what we can to make sure that the people that you're concerned about and you care about get the kind of wonderful, respected care that they deserve. We will always be here for you.